Manchester City are Super Cup champions. They've lifted yet another trophy after defeating Sevilla in penalties. Sevilla went up 1-0 in this game and had them on the ropes, but ultimately, Manchester City found a way to tie the game, see out the draw, push it to pens, and win it in the shootout. They've won yet another piece of silverware. Pep Guardiola celebrating on the sidelines. How would you interpret this tightly contested game for Manchester City? Do you see this as maybe a sign of things to come? Did you see it as a little problematic that they were down 1-0 to Sevilla at one point? Or is this just classic Man City doing where they just see a game out, get the result they need, no matter what they go through to get there, ultimately showing their class and quality in the process?
Overall, this game felt very similar to the Community Shield that happened 2 weeks ago. City looked pretty slow. And honestly, I'm going to kind of interpret it the same way. It's just kind of felt preseason-y, honestly. Yeah, but nonetheless, I thought City put in a decent performance. But overall, even their last performance and the one in the Community Shield, I'm just getting shades of last year where it took them a month and a half to 2 months to get going. And that's the thing. I don't know if I can even say anything about Manchester City until October is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I will say, though, there's some points of concern that I wonder if by October I should start getting worried. And I think that point of concern, I'm going to start with midfielder Kovacic. We already knew it going into the season. He's not a one-to-one replacement of İlkay Gundogan, right? He's not. But if you thought he was, I think it's becoming very apparent that he isn't, right? He's not a finisher. Although he does get offensively involved, scoring goals just is not a part of Kovacic's game whatsoever. Low-key doesn't even know how to strike the ball, I think, but he's just an excellent passer, an excellent facilitator, and that's why he's started in every game so far this season for Manchester City, because he does have that class. But we already talked about it before the season started. He does not have the impact. So I do wonder, is that going to be an actual crux to Manchester City going forward, especially when the games start getting very, very heated? I do wonder. Gvardiol ended up getting a start in this game. I thought he looked good, starting out in that fullback position, a position that he started in when he started with Leipzig. Can't really say much about his performance either because I don't know if Sevilla attacked him specifically consistently. But yeah, overall, I thought City had a good game. Their penetration looked a little sloppy, honestly, for most of the game. Jack Grealish looked all right. Phil Foden looked good in moments. Haaland didn't get much of the ball. But yeah, as you said at the beginning, they just scraped it out kind of as they do, even if the game is really tight, because they just have that class.
Yeah, I think the narrative for Manchester City these first few months is going to be about replacements. Who fills in the roles for certain players that last year helped create Pep's ultimate and quote-unquote perfect version of what he envisioned this Manchester City team to be. Guys like İlkay Gundogan leaving, Kovacic coming in, how does he fill in that role in that gap? Likewise, Riyad Mahrez leaving the club in that right wing position, and Cole Palmer rising to prominence lately with his performance in the Community Shield, as well as this game as well. I think he's one of the standout players for Manchester City offensively. Will he be able to actually provide consistent minutes, though, in the league and in cup tournaments for this Pep Guardiola side? I'm interested to see, man, because he's a youngin'. I think he's 20 years old. Will he have a similar path to a guy like Phil Foden, for example, and how he just slowly got integrated into this team until eventually he became a regular starter? And then Kevin De Bruyne getting injured and out till what's projected to be December, bro.
Seeing him go out early in that game against Burnley last weekend kind of made me start thinking that this might be the end of De Bruyne.
Yep.
And it just sucks that for everything that he's given to the Prem, specifically, Manchester City, obviously, it sucks that he's going out this way in a way that he just can't control. Injuries. I think every year his injuries are getting longer and longer. And it seems, especially towards the end of the season, when City's in that crunch time, it's almost like De Bruyne has some sort of hint of an injury, In those big Champions League games, De Bruyne is usually getting injured or just not even playing, when it comes to April, May time frame. And I think that same knock that really didn't let him play against Inter Milan, I think it's still there.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that,
It's still there.
Damn.
And that's just not good, that he's not been able to heal quickly. And it just, again, it sucks. It's so sad because there's nothing he can do. And it's just, genetics, father time knocking on the door of De Bruyne, who at the end of the day is one of the most creative, clinical passing midfielders that I think I've had the pleasure of ever seeing, bro.
Absolutely.
And so, De Bruyne, I hope you're okay, man, because
I hope. If
bro.
we can get just even 1 or 2 more seasons out of him.
That's it.
Like of top class De Bruyne, I think that'd be such a win at this day. Because he's 32 years old, I think right now. He'll be turning 33 soon. Once you get into that 33, 34 gap, bro, a lot of players don't make it past that, man. They really don't. I do think from one perspective, I like that they're kind of dealing with this now, getting this injury out of the way completely. At least that's how it feels like they're going to approach it. Resting him and rehabbing him until December is a long time to really get back into top shape. And then they'll have a healthy De Bruyne for January forward, hopefully. I think that might be what he needs moving forward now for his career is to be out a good amount of time at the beginning of the season so he can come back towards the end when it matters most. When it matters most, and provide that same old De Bruyne creativity. Maybe that's what they're doing now, man, in order to get the most out of him. That's the narrative for Manchester City. And even then, with all these questions, it still results in a title for them in the Super Cup. But it didn't come easy, bro, because Sevilla could have had a 2-goal lead in this game.
They fought so hard for the entire 90 minutes. Honestly, Sevilla really impressed me from their commitment point of view and the way that they approached this game. Ocampos just running up and down that flank, defending when Manchester City had the ball, and then in those moments of transition would then sprint down that sideline in hopes of just trying to craft something special. Just the work rate of this Sevilla side was truly, truly admirable. And I think it's what we saw towards the end of last year when they went to the Europa League final and got that win. The Sevilla side's definitely organized. They're 100% committed behind Mendilibar's tactics. So Sevilla, I thought, had a really good game. Just the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes, the gap in quality, I think, definitely showed because they really just couldn't touch the ball. But that first goal from En-Nesyri, what a header, man. Perfectly just hammered down into the bottom of that corner. And yes, as you just said, he should have had that second goal. It was a perfect low cross ball right into his feet, served on a plate. But he just shot it right at Ederson. And I mean, that's my harp on En-Nesyri. He's so good in certain moments, but just overall, he's actually not that clinical.
Yeah, man. It's just
he's like Morata kind of.
No, yeah. I want to disagree with you, but I can't. I can't, bro. If you want to beat a Manchester City side like this, you have to get both of those opportunities into the back of the net. He got one, deserves credit for it.
Oh, yeah.
But that second one was so clear and obvious and such an easy opportunity to finish. The fact that he shot it centrally, for some reason, pisses me off, man. Just put it off to the sides. Get the goal, secure that 2-0 lead. Sure, if Man City comes back from that, then you can live with that, man. You really can. But being 1-0 up just is not a safe lead against Manchester City. And if they had 10 more minutes, they probably would have seen the game out and gotten a 2-1 lead. So the fact they didn't ends up biting them in the ass, and they lose out on the opportunity to lift the Super Cup. But hey, Manchester City are champions, and I guess congrats to them.